All right, so are you ready to dive into the world of synthetic materials engineering? We're talking about literally building the future here, one molecule at a time. And today we're going to help you nail that interview. We're diving deep into some sample interview questions from RoleCatcher.
That's right. And we'll be pulling some really great insights and tips from their career guide and interview guide, too.
And guess what else? We'll also be looking at how you can use RoleCatcher's AI to give you that extra edge.
Because, it's one thing to know all the right answers, but it's a whole other thing to really understand what those hiring managers are looking for. So we'll help you connect the dots.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so first things first. What does a synthetic materials engineer even do all day? Because RoleCatcher's career guide paints a pretty interesting picture. It's not just like mixing chemicals in a lab.
No, definitely not. Think of it more like designing the materials that make up things like airplanes and smartphones and even like those life-saving medical devices.
Wow, that's pretty incredible.
It is. It is. You're pushing the boundaries of what's possible with materials, and the field is absolutely booming right now. The Bureau of Labor Statistics actually projects a 3% growth over the next decade.
Okay, wow. Talk about some serious job security.
Right.
Okay, but how do I actually convince someone to hire me?
Let's get to these interview questions. And I'm thinking RoleCatcher's interview guide is going to be our cheat sheet for success here. So first up, imagine you're like a mid-level candidate and they hit you with this. Can you explain the process of designing and developing synthetic materials?
Ooh, that is a good one.
Right.
And this is where you really get to shine. But don't just like rattle off the textbook definitions you memorized. Instead, walk them through that whole journey you know.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Start with identifying the actual need. Like, what problem are you even trying to solve with this new material? Does it need to be stronger or lighter or maybe more flexible?
Yeah, so you're setting the stage. You're giving them some context. Right, exactly. And then you dive into the entire process. So that's selecting those raw materials, designing the structure of the material, all the testing and refining that goes into it, and then even how to produce it on a larger scale.
Okay, so it's almost like you're telling a story, with each step kind of building on the last one.
Exactly, exactly. And don't forget to sprinkle in some.
All right, moving on to question number 2. And this is another one for mid-level candidates. What types of synthetic materials have you worked with in the past? Now, this one seems pretty straightforward to me,
Yeah, you would think so, right?
but I bet there's more to it.
You're right, there is. Don't just give them a list of all these materials you've worked with. Make sure to highlight the unique properties of each material and where they're usually used and maybe even some interesting challenges you had with them. So, for instance, let's say you've worked with carbon fiber.
Okay, yeah.
Well, you'd want to talk about its amazing strength to weight ratio
Uh-huh.
and how it's being used in aerospace and maybe even a time you had to try to make it more flexible for a specific project.
Oh, yeah,
Do
nice.
you see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Always try to tailor your answer to the company and the job you're applying for. So, for instance, if they specialize in biocompatible materials, you know what to do.
Highlight that.
Yes, highlight your experience in that area.
Perfect. Okay, let's turn up the heat a little bit here. Imagine you're going for a more senior level position, and they ask, how do you ensure the quality and consistency of synthetic materials during production? I can feel the pressure already.
Right. So this one is where you really want to showcase your leadership skills and that deep understanding you have of quality control. Talk about all those systems you've implemented, like statistical process control or those rigorous testing protocols. And, don't forget about those regular quality audits.
Yeah, and this is where I'm thinking that maybe having certifications like Six Sigma could really come in handy, right? I know the career guide mentioned those.
You are so right. Six Sigma is all about minimizing defects and ensuring that consistent quality, which is really important in this field. And it's such a globally recognized certification. It shows that you are serious about delivering excellence.
Okay, back to mid-level territory now with question number 4. Can you describe a project you worked on where you developed a new synthetic material? Okay, story time.
Yes, story time. This is your chance to really showcase your problem-solving skills and all that innovation that you've got.
Love it.
So pick a project that really aligns with the company's work and where you played, a key role in that project. Focus on the actual problem and all the steps that you took to solve it and the results you got. And you know what? Don't be afraid to get a bit technical.
Yeah, but make sure to explain things clearly, right?
Oh, for sure.
Even if you are diving into the technical details, don't assume everyone in the room knows, let's say, what tensile strength is,
Yeah.
take a moment to define it and things like that. It just shows that you're a good communicator, which is, I mean, let's be real, it's a key skill no matter what team environment you're in.
Oh, 100%. Clarity is crucial. Now let's switch gears a bit and go to an entry-level question. How do you stay up to date with the latest developments and trends in synthetic materials?
This one, to me, just feels like it's all about passion and initiative.
It totally is. And you want to show them that you're a lifelong learner, that you're always eager to expand your knowledge. So make sure to mention specific industry publications that you're reading. Like, what about Materials Today or Polymer Engineering and Science?
Nice.
RoleCatcher's Career Guide even lists some really great resources too, by the way.
Oh, perfect. So instead of just saying, I read journals, you're name-dropping the heavy hitters in the field.
Yeah.
That's smart.
And, if you've been to any webinars or conferences, definitely mention those too. It shows that you're actively trying to learn, connecting with other people in the field.
All right, time for another senior level challenge. How do you evaluate the environmental impact of synthetic materials? Sustainability is a big deal these days.
But it's more than a trend.
Right.
It is a core responsibility in this field for sure. So you want to be prepared to talk about things like life cycle assessments and carbon footprint analyses, and something called eco-design. Have you worked on any projects where you prioritize sustainable practices?
Okay. Yeah.
Highlight those.
Yeah, it's about showing that you're not just creating those amazing materials, but that you're doing it responsibly too.
Exactly. Exactly. You want to show them that you're thinking about the long-term impact of your work and that you're aligned with that growing emphasis on, environmental stewardship these days.
Okay, we've got 2 more questions to go. This one is for all those mid-level candidates out there. Get ready. What challenges have you faced while working with synthetic materials and how did you overcome them? Problem-solving time.
Yes. Now here you want to choose a challenge that was, significant, but one where you can really showcase those analytical skills that you have and how you found a solution. Don't just say, it didn't work. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Walk them through that whole thought process that you went through, the experiments that you ran, the adjustments that you made along the way.
So like if you encountered a problem with, let's say, viscosity, you explain how you analyze the issue and then you experimented with a bunch of different additives and then ultimately, boom, you found a way to adjust that whole formulation for optimal performance.
Yes, exactly. Turn those challenges into learning experiences. It shows that you are resilient and that you can think critically under pressure too, which is super important.
Okay, last question in this round. And again, this one's for those mid-level folks. How do you collaborate with other departments or teams such as R&D or production to develop new synthetic materials? Teamwork makes the dream work. Am I right?
It really does. And effective collaboration is crucial. So give some very specific examples of how you've actually facilitated communication between teams, maybe like through regular meetings or using shared documents or something.
Or even just being able to explain really complex concepts to those colleagues who have completely different backgrounds than you.
Yes, you nailed it.
High five.
It's all about being that bridge between different departments, making sure everyone is on the same page and working towards a common goal.
Wow. We just tackled 8 pretty intense interview questions. Give yourself a pat on the back, everybody. But hold on, before we celebrate, we've got more to cover.
Okay, so, we've been talking about landing that job, right?
Right.
But let's actually talk about your whole career path for a minute.
Yeah.
What can this job actually take you? RoleCatcher's Career Guide actually highlights some really exciting possibilities.
Yeah, where can this job take you? What's the long game here?
Well, you could move up and start leading teams, or even whole projects, or maybe if you're really passionate about a specific area like biomaterials or nanotechnology, you could specialize even more by going back to school or something.
Okay, so there's room for both leadership and specialized expertise then.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
What about certifications? I know the guide mentioned those too. Are those actually worth it?
I would say definitely think of certifications as a way to, level up your expertise and your credibility. Like a professional engineer license, the PE. That shows you're really committed to ethical standards and technical excellence.
Oh, so it's like a stamp of approval from the whole industry. Like this person knows their stuff.
Exactly. And then there's others like Six Sigma, that showcases your process improvement skills, which a lot of companies are looking for these days,
Right.
especially in manufacturing.
The career guide also talks about networking. Is that actually important? I feel like everyone says that.
Oh, it is so important. Networking can really open doors for you in this field.
Yeah.
Like joining professional organizations, like
Yeah.
the Materials Research Society,
It's okay.
that connects you with a ton of other professionals
Oh, yeah.
and could even lead to some job opportunities down the road.
I got it.
And just keeping you up to date on everything that's going on.
Right. So it's not just about what you know, but also who you know, but like in a good way.
Exactly. In a good way, building those relationships and learning from each other. Oh, and don't forget about online communities and forums. Those are really good too.
Right. Okay, before we wrap up, I think we have to talk about RoleCatcher's AI tool.
Oh, yes.
Because I keep hearing they can like really boost your interview prep.
They can. It's like having your own personal coach in your pocket. Let's start with their CV and resume builder.
Okay, what's so special about that? I feel like resumes are resumes, right? Don't they all kind of look the same?
They don't. They don't. And that's the great thing about RoleCatcher's AI. It actually helps you tailor your resume to each and every job that you apply for.
Okay.
It analyzes the actual job description
Uh-huh.
and helps you figure out what skills and experiences to really highlight for that specific role.
So it's like you've got like a secret decoder ring for those applicant tracking systems that all these companies are using these days.
It is. It is. It really helps you get past all those robots and in front of a real person you know.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and once you've landed that interview, RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you practice your answers, and it gives you feedback on what you're saying and even how you're saying it.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's like you're doing a mock interview with an expert who knows exactly what that company is looking for.
That's amazing.
And here's the best part.
Okay.
RoleCatcher's AI can actually help you connect with employers who are actively looking for someone just like you.
Wow. Talk about taking the guesswork out of the job hunt, huh?
Exactly.
Okay, so we covered a lot of ground here today.
We did.
We talked about understanding what it even means to be a synthetic materials engineer and how to master those really tough interview questions. We talked about career paths, networking, and even how AI can give you that extra advantage.
Just did a lot of information for sure.
But, we've given you all these tools and all this knowledge, but now I think comes the most important part.
Right, like what kind of future do you even want to build?
Okay, that's a good question. I like that.
Yeah, because as a synthetic materials engineer, you're not just like designing materials, you're actually shaping the world.
Okay, I'm listening.
So think about it. What impact do you really want to have? What problems are you passionate about solving? Are you driven by, sustainability? Or maybe pushing the boundaries of what's even possible? Or creating materials that actually improve people's lives?
Those are some pretty big questions, but they do
Yeah.
matter. Yeah.
They do. And let that be your guide as you're prepping for those interviews and even throughout your entire career.
Yeah, that's good advice. So as you're practicing those answers and you're getting that resume all perfect,
Right.
really connect it back to your own personal vision.
Yes.
Let your passion shine through.
That's what's going to make you stand out,
Okay, well, there you have it, future synthetic materials engineers. We've given you the knowledge, the insights, and we even gave you the secret weapon of RoleCatcher's AI.
Now all you got to do is go out there and ace that interview.
Yes, and don't forget to check out RoleCatcher's amazing resources. We're talking about the career guides, the interview guides, all those AI tools, everything. They're going to help you unlock a really successful and fulfilling career in the world of synthetic materials. You got this. We believe in you. Good luck out there, and we'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.